Trek have completely redesigned the fuel range for the 2020 model year. And courtesy of Evo Cycles and Trek New Zealand, I've got the Fuel EX8, which I'm taking for a spin for the next couple of days. Unfortunately, having not ridden the previous model of the Fuel, I can't give you guys who are looking to update your bikes a direct comparison. But having said that, this is more looking at the new bike and its specs and how it goes on the trails here. So without any more hanging about, let's go have a look through the specs and then we'll see how it rolls on the trails. So the Fuel originally started out as a cross-country bike with 100mm travel around about 15 years ago, I believe. And with its iterations and longer suspension travel, 140 in the front, 130 in the rear, it still hasn't lost its cross-country origins. The uphill trails are quite relaxed, easy, even for someone of my hopeless climbing ability. Uphills aren't my favourite, but there's no drama at the moment. We'll see how we are at the end of the day, but it's definitely making it easy. Got the rear shock still in trail mode. I haven't locked it out completely. Front forks wide open, piece of cake. Ooh, wow. Could double that if I had some skill. Oh yes, this is a cool trail. There's 2.6 wide tyres, definitely hanging on. Probably give me a bit more credit than I'm due. This place is magic. I don't know why there's not more people here today. Perfect riding conditions. That hub at the back sounds so good. Subtle, but good. This is about the dampest part of the trail that I've come across. These Bontrager tyres don't lose traction at all. Ooh. The Fuel EX8 is a very competent and versatile trail bike which is just as happy plodding along meandering trails or hitting some big jumps or going over some really rough, rooty terrain. Unfortunately, the only limitations to this bike was the pilot, and I really didn't want to try too hard and give back a mangled wreck of a bike. As I mentioned earlier, not a huge fan of the uphills, but with the 30-tooth chainring up front and the SRAM GX Eagle out the back, got that big 50-tooth granny gear, there wasn't any problems climbing any hills, and there were a couple of hills that I questioned whether I was going to make up and had no problems at all. So it really is a bike that you can climb all day on. So when I picked up the EX8 from Evo Cycles, I put it on the scales once I put the pedals on, and it weighed in at 14.7 kilograms. Now that also includes tubes in the tyres because that's how they come from the dealers. So that doesn't make it the lightest of aluminium bikes out there on the market, but it doesn't feel heavy or cumbersome on the trails. In fact, it actually feels quite nimble and sprightly. So what did I like about the bike? Well, there's quite a number of things. I don't normally let the bike's look or colour influence me, but when I first saw the bike and noticed how the top tube runs into the seat stays all on the same angle, that's something that's become quite a popular thing with bike design. I think it looks great. It's a good looking bike from the side on angle. A big top tube tapering down to the seat stay really does look like it's solid. So for me, one of the best looking parts of this bike is the rear triangle, and I really do like the suspension rocket here, but it's where the cables are routed through the chainstays that really tickles my fancy. I'm quite the neat freak when it comes to that sort of thing, and to see all the cables tucked nicely away is great. And I know there's some cable neat freaks out there too that this will satisfy. But overall, on this particular model, the colour scheme is just gorgeous. That purple in the sunshine, it's not doing it in here because it's raining outside at the moment. The sun just glistens off that purple, and I had a number of riders out there in the forest on the weekend comment on just how good it looks, how the purple blends into the black. You know, you go throw on some Deity pedals which are purple, match it up with some matching grips. Even if you want to be that particular and put on some new bolts in the same anodized purple, that thing will look absolutely stunning. So performance wise, what I really enjoyed about the bike is how it made me want to climb. It kept me on the bike. I never wanted to hop off and walk up any steep sections. The climbing prowess of the thing was fantastic. So maybe it's a combination of the geometry and the componentry, but everything seemed to come together in the right package to make me want to keep on going round and round. More climbs, more downhills, more fun. And speaking of the downhills, now they were just magic. Now the 29-inch wheel bikes are starting to really grow on me, and I'm liking them the more and more that I ride them. The ability to plough through roots and chunky terrain without losing any momentum is such a big bonus. You can carry your speed through the trails a whole lot better, and I found that I was coming across corners a lot quicker than I was expecting because I had ploughed through the gnarly stuff. A lot of the trails that you've seen on this video I have ridden for the first time, and the combination of its grip and the agility, I feel the weight feels low down. Those two combinations really did make the bike handle well, and coming around corners that were blind, I didn't see, I started getting a little bit more confidence with how much grip that the bike had, and sometimes just a bit too much confidence, which outweighed my ability. Now braking performance, that was another plus. 203mm rotor at the front, 180 out the back. Never had brake fade, although the longest run I did was 2.5 kilometres, but there was no issues with fade going on there. And plus the rear hub was just the right amount of noise for me. Not too loud so that people in the car park are hearing you starting your run down the mountain, but just enough to let people in front of you know that you're coming. So now we come to the cons, and what didn't I like about the bike? Well, to be honest, it's only a couple of small, very, very picky things, and it's just personal preference. But I felt I should make a mention of them. Now, the grips for me are just a little bit thin. They weren't totally comfortable for a full day's ride, but I didn't suffer any arm pump, which is unusual because normally I do on bikes with just standard grips. So having said that, maybe it's just me being a bit particular. And the one other thing that was not quite 100% for me was the saddle. By the end of the day, 7 hours in it, and my sit bones were complaining to me. But then again, no two bums are the same, and it must be difficult for a bike company to outfit a bike with one saddle that will rule them all. So those are two personal little things. Doesn't make any bearing on the performance of the bike, but again, you know, they're just small little things. So the Fuel EX range has pretty much a bike for everyone, whether you be budget conscious or a beginner rider with the EX5, right up to your hardcore racers and very experienced mountain bikers with the EX9.9. So who do I think would suit this particular bike, the EX8? Well, maybe you're a rider that's coming off your first mountain bike and looking to upgrade to something new and a bit more progressive. This is a perfect bike for that. Maybe you're a cross-country rider that is looking to bomb down the trails a bit more and needing that extra suspension. This particular bike here would suit the cross-country riders a lot. It's got a very good cross-country feel to it, but with that extra plushness, that extra give in the suspension for hitting the rough stuff. Or perhaps you're just an enduro rider coming off an enduro rig and wanting something that's a bit easier to pedal uphill. It really is just a versatile bike, as I've said before, for pretty much any rider that's looking for something that can climb well as handle the descents. Well, I've got to go and return this bike now, and that wraps things up here. If you're wanting more information about the Fuel EX8, I'll leave a link in the video description below. And if you're wanting to demo one, then get to your nearest Evo Cycles shop or find your nearest Trek dealer, and I'm sure they'll be able to put you on one. So thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope it was of some help to you. Now, if you're looking to see some more trail videos from Waitangi MTB Park featuring the EX8, then stay tuned because I'm going to be uploading some more soon.